I'm Bill Tinsley, and I've been going to sea for, since many years. I don't know how long it's been.
Project Pearl is the true story of a small group of courageous men who tried to smuggle 1 million Bibles into communist China in 1981. Bill Tinsley and his wife Lil spent much of the 60s doing street ministry in the Philippines, leading people to Jesus amidst a violent and dangerous revolution. During a routine boat trip, Bill and a small crew of followers found themselves stranded 60 miles from shore.
And Rico was the youngest. So I told him, go down in the engine room and get this plastic pan, one of these plastic dish pans. It blew out of his hand and landed in the water right by the boat. He dove in the water and he hit his face on it. And so I could see he was stunned. So immediately I jumped in the water with him. And the next thing I know, I look and the boat is about 50 feet away or more. He was kind of flailing around, he was disorientated. And I'm shouting to the guys all the time to get the rope. And how long he lasted, I don't know, but we lost him out there.
See the world in front of me.
Bill was disgraced and shunned after that, but an old friend of his, Doug, showed up in the Philippines and enlisted Bill's help on a Bible smuggling mission into China.
Be the thing I wanna be.
And Project Rainbow, his vision was to carry 30,000 Bibles into Canton, right after, that was when we went there in '79. I made a promise years ago to God that if He opens the door, I would go through it.
After the success of Project Rainbow, the Chinese believers request 1 million Bibles.
Doug says to me, he says, we're thinking about delivering 1 million Bibles to China. And I said, Doug, that would be worth life itself. And I knew that I was the only person that would be qualified to do something like that. And I said, you've got to float it. You're not going to be able to carry it. So they come down to what's going to be floated.
It took months for Bill to round up everything they needed. Bill had to design a special barge that would partially submerge so the Bibles could be offloaded silently. They cobbled together a rookie crew and found a small tugboat in Singapore they hoped would get the job done.
So then we all climbed on the boat. I had 18 men, with the exception of one that had never been to sea before. They'd never been on a boat before. And here we are heading the 1,500-mile journey back up to the Philippines. Had all this electric equipment. And then one right after another, they went out. So I'm back to the plain old follow the compass. We're going that way. Everyone's looking to me because I'm the captain and I'm the authority. I've got to know everything and answer every question and, plus instruct them, like I say, in how to steer the boat. And boy, we had some real experiences with that. It took us 7 days. I think Doug and I always had a constant conflict. And the idea was we're going to get the barge, bring it back to Puerto Galera, where we got the calm water and we could sink it and do all the testing. And Doug says, no, we don't have time. We got to get to Hong Kong right away. I said, Doug, we got to test this barge. It's a brand new thing. We don't know how anything's working on it. No. They're on the dock. The Bibles are all over the dock. We got to get over there right away to load them. Finally, he won the argument. He said, we got to go. And I said, okay, we go. Told him from the outset, I will not take any more risks than we have to. And remember, because I already lost one guy out there.
As the tugboat Michael, the barge, and the crew head to Hong Kong, they encounter a fierce storm that puts everyone to the test.
Boom! That boat just vibrates and thunders, when you hit the wave and it goes down and then slowly climbs up out of the hole again to meet a next wave coming. And everyone so deathly ill from the storm, nobody can function and do anything. It was going so hard that they were hitting the ceiling, so they crawled in the bunks and tied themselves down so they wouldn't hit the ceiling. And we sailed into Hong Kong on nice smooth water coming in on the channels, and But that was all. Our crew went to work. We got tied up, and they went right to work.
The crew loaded 234 one-ton blocks of Bibles. But something was brewing in the background that threatened the mission for good.
Doug returns to the boat with the other guys with the sad news that the project is on hold. We can't go. I told them, I'm ready to go. We'll do this if you want to do it. And they back and forth. It was quite a long discussion. But they finally agreed that they should obey the ones over them.
Thousands of Chinese Christians were left exposed on the beach that night when no delivery arrived. The next 30 days would be spent working out leadership problems, reorganizing the frustrated Chinese, and keeping a mutinous crew in line. Then, finally, they got the go-ahead. Project Pearl was back on.
I mean, the tension on that boat was, you could cut it with a knife. We're sailing into China to do this delivery, and these guys have not had the experience in dangerous situations, you know, and their voices kept getting higher and higher and higher and higher. And all I had was a chart, was a very poor chart, with this little X in this little cove over here, and that's a big ocean out there, and I've got to come in and nail it on that spot. And I pulled in there and I dropped the anchor. The guys were on the back on the barge, and they went to open the side door. This big, huge, that side door is a big, long one, probably weighed 10 tons. It wouldn't go down. They were back there banging on it with sledgehammer. Hey, this is a covert operation. We can't make, but they didn't have any choice. They had to pound on that thing until they finally got it down. And I was doing that, I was watching what the guys were doing, and one of them tapped me on the shoulder and says, "Captain, there's a boat coming." They saw us, but they didn't see us. So after about an hour and a half, we were there. Doug comes out and they said, "We want you to leave now." They leave now. Evidently they were feeling something on the beach of danger, and they wanted us out of there. And I says, "Okay." But our barge is half sunk. You know, it's still down on one side. And then I get a call back, "Can't get a prime on the pump." Oh man, and we gotta leave. So I got everybody aboard, got everything settled, and I put that old tug in gear, and we started. And we gotta go almost full speed to get out of there, but we've got this barge half sunk behind us that acts like a rudder. So as I'm towing it, it'll go way out this way. And then when the power pulls it back like that, and then it'll way out here. They could see us from the shore. Anybody see that? These guys must be crazy out there with those addicts. And I didn't have any choice. I had to get out of there. Just a few days, I think it was afterwards. And I don't know how it came about, or one thing or another, that the police had come. They tried to burn the Bibles, and they wouldn't burn, and they kept throwing them all in the water, and some of the people got caught. How many they moved, we didn't know, but they got some off of the beach. But the fishermen saw these things floating in the water, and they pulled them out of the water, and they found there were paper. And eventually they dried them out, and they were wrapping the fresh fish in it. And of course, there's a lot of Christians in that area, found out that they were, "Hey, this is a Bible." And so they went to the fishermen and bought them all back. I think that I paid a terrible price.
After Project Pearl, Bill returned home. The Chinese government put pressure on the Filipino government to have Bill arrested. Narrowly escaping death, Bill had to leave his business, ministry, and home of 20 years behind and flee the Philippines.
Of course it's worth it. You know, as far as Project Pearl, it's more than worth it. Like I said, if it was life itself. If I'd have died, it would have been worth it. Yeah, my hope that people would have more courage to step across that line that looks like there's nothing on the other side, we're going to fall off. Be able to step off that cliff in perfect confidence that God is going to see you through.